Hey, well, good evening, everybody. It's Dave coming to you from the Wyoming house for a fireside chat. We haven't done one of these in a while. It's about 8 o'clock on Sunday evening. Sun has gone down. The last little respites of sunset are over the Tetons here to my right, to your left. It's a little dark in here because I'm basically just using the fireplace or the fire for light. I'm smoking one of my old friends, smoking old dark fired Ready Rub. One of my favorite tobaccos in the world. So I decided to come and have a fireside chat. I miss these. I know when I'm in Maryland, we do the dog yard. We either do the fire pit cigar evenings or we do the dog yard chats. It's just doesn't work here. So I got back from the cigar lounge a little bit early tonight, so I thought we should go ahead and at least have a chat. So tonight I thought I'd answer a question that has come up several times over the year I've been online with you guys. That's the question: is what did I do for a living, or what did I do to make my money? You guys see the crazy cars and the beautiful house here in Wyoming, and my tobacco cellar. And so a lot of people have asked, what did you do? And so the answer really is, what did I used to do? The short answer is I started a company in September of 1994 and sold it in January of 2019. So we'll talk a little bit about what happened in between those dates. So most of you on the YouTube channel have known me for about 11 months or less. Probably don't realize that what I present on this channel is a result of 33 years of pretty dedicated support. A lot of 10, 12, 14-hour days, a lot of 6 and 7 day work weeks. A period of 10 years with no vacation. A couple years of taking no salary. Over 20 years of investing more back into my corporate infrastructure than into my personal salary. This isn't me crying in my beer. This is me just trying to make sure you understand that this was not an overnight or flash event. There was no get rich quick scheme. It was a long, arduous march for 33 years, 25 of them with the company, but 8 years kind of getting ready to do it. Anyway, in September 1994, I started a company called David Hale Associates, Inc. Because I thought it sounded like it was more than one person. And I'm not very creative. So I did business as David Hale Associates, Inc. for a long time. Eventually, my lawyer advised me to get my name out of it, so we changed it to DHA Group. DHA Group LLC. The DHA still stood for David Hale Associates, just not legally. Because by the time we did that, the name meant something to our vendors. To our customers. So we didn't want to completely lose the DH part of it. And really from September of 94 till May of 99, so almost 5 years, I worked it as a one-man show. So even after starting the company and getting successfully launched, it took 5 years for me to go from one person to two people. The other myth I think I wanted to dispel right away is this concept of a self-made man. I'll just use myself as the example, but I think it's a bit of a fallacy. I don't think any one person can make it to true wealth all by themselves. I think it requires being surrounded by teams of great people, whether it be employees or advisors or clients or vendors or subcontractors. It literally takes a cloud of talented individuals. And even if you're the one who created it and thought of it and led it, I think it's disingenuous to call yourself a self-made man. So I want to kind of just get that out of the way. This is going to be a rambling video because I'm really just talking about my life. So as a one-man show, I was asked to support the U.S. Army. I supported them for 6 months, and then I was asked to come by the FBI to come to headquarters and talk to them about a problem they had. And in April of 1995, I went to support the FBI as a contractor. I never worked for the FBI. I was never an FBI agent. I want to make sure that's clear. And I really never left after that. So from April of 95 until when I sold January of 2019, the primary focus of my company was supporting the FBI. We also supported the U.S. Marshals, and we also supported the DoD, particularly the Department of Logistics, or the Defense Logistics Agency, DLA. Those are our three main clients. We had others throughout the years, but the FBI was the lion's share of the business, and the U.S. Marshals was second to that. Funny, you want to talk about the beginning and the end. So in April of 1995, I was one-man show supporting the FBI. And when I sold the company in January 2019, DHA Group was the largest service provider to the FBI and the third largest service provider to the Department of Justice. So that's that's quite a track record, I guess, and I think that's what made our company so desirable, such a target to be purchased by a large entity. So anyway, I served as a single individual until May '99. Then I hired my first employee. And really from 1995 to about 2007, over those 12 years, we added one or two a year. We eventually grew to about 20 people. And a big year for us was 2007. The FBI asked us to compete as a prime contractor so they could have direct access to us. And we ended up winning one of the prime contracts in, I believe it was early 2008, and that's really where we took off. And so our growth wave really occurred mainly within the FBI from 2008 to, I don't know, 2020. And as the company became more profitable top line, as we grew more revenue and grew more profitably on the bottom line, I chose to pour most of that back into the corporate infrastructure. I wanted to build a company, not just take it all home. I'd seen too many CEOs start and build a small, successful business and then drain it to the point of being anemic financially by, buying $10 million homes and $1 million automobiles and stuff like that. So I didn't really change my salary for years. And in fact, for the first 2 years of the company, I didn't take any salary. So talk a minute about investing in the infrastructure of your company. And what does that mean? Well, that means if you are doing the accounting yourself as CEO, that's not a good use of your time. So as you get more money, you hire a bookkeeper. And then eventually you can't do your own recruiting, so you hire an outside recruiting firm. But after you spend so much money with them, you could afford your own recruiter, so you hire a recruiter or two or three. Eventually DHA had 3 recruiters, and our accounting staff grew to 2 or 3. Then we had to hire a security officer. And then as our billable delivery teams got larger, we had to start paying executive staff to manage more than I can handle. So all that costs money, and all that comes out of the profitability line, all that comes out of the CEO's take-home pay. if the CEO, I think, is smart enough and wants to grow a company. I did not start DHA in order to sell it. That was not my intent. In fact, I started DHA because I knew someday I'd get fired from corporate America. I just don't have the personality to be a cog in a wheel where I disagree with leadership or the direction of the wheel. So, in fact, I didn't really even consider selling the company seriously until a year or two, like 2017, maybe. We start getting offers. In fact, the offer I ended up accepting in November of 18, and we closed in January 19, was the 8th that had been proffered to us. We just didn't consider the prior ones either lucrative enough or serious enough to spend any time on. Most of our work was top secret or higher. If you don't understand clearances at the U.S. Federal government level, you have confidential clearances, secret clearances, top secret clearances, and then above that you move into what's called compartmentalized information or compartments. You have things like TSC, SCI, Byman, Gamma, and these are all compartments. And you can go up to eventually Q clearance, which is issued by the Department of Energy, and that gives you access to nuclear information. So 100% of our staff were top secret or better cleared. 100% of our work was top secret. So anyway, it's called a high entry barrier to the business, and I think that's why once we had reached the level we had reached, companies started to buy us because they could automatically buy a footprint into a very difficult location for business, meaning the U.S. intelligence community. So to make a longer story shorter, I'm going to just tell you we eventually blew up to about 500 people were in the umbrella of DHA. And in about 2018, I believe our top line revenue was around 50 or 52 million. And our 2019 run rate was approaching 60, 62 million. So that's a lot of people and that's a lot of revenue for someone to buy, And so eventually we did get our offer. It hit my target number. I'd never told anybody what my target number was. I got a letter of intent that had my number in that letter. I figured that was a sign from God to move on, and I sold in January of 2019. And I don't know how you can't see that as guided by the hand of God. I mean, I got out. I got totally out of the business. I was off the treadmill of business life on January 20th of 2019, and then by November and December of 2019, you heard the rumors, COVID was coming in, and by January of 2020, literally within 1 year of me getting off the treadmill and selling the company and taking all the risk off the table, things really started to crater. So, I really do give it to being led by God that I started the company, that I understood how to grow it, that I was able to find and surround myself with great people, including great customers, including, client objectives that I really felt strongly for, and I felt good and emotional and connected to, and then grew it, and then eventually was led to get out of it and kind of just in time. So that's kind of the quick story of how I got to where I am really. So the proceeds of the sale of the company is really how I funded my life and my family's life from 2019 through today. For those who aren't watching it this right away, this is October 20th of 2024. So I guess we're coming up on 6 years I've been out. So since then, where has my money come from? It's through investing the proceeds of the sale of the company. I've had several financial type videos on this channel. I've told you where I believe money should be placed. I tell you where I've placed mine. That really hasn't changed. The lion's share of my money is in real estate, and in physical gold, physical silver, some crypto. And then I've told everybody who asks, I dabble in the market. I largely day or swing trade, and that provides daily, weekly, monthly cash for us. Um, this house is at least doubled and maybe 2.5 or even 3 times what I paid for it. I've only owned it three years. In fact, this week, 3 years. Um, Gold and silver, if you watch what it's done in the last couple of years, and particularly this year, it's worth a lot of money to my family now. So, I continue to say crypto. I got into one of the early waves of both Ethereum and Bitcoin, and it really paid for this house for me. Um, and I continue now. I think another wave is coming, so you're going to see me continue to dabble in crypto. I'm going to continue to hold, pretty large amounts of gold and silver, and I'll continue to own real estate both here in the States and overseas. So that's kind of the story of kind of how I got to be the guy you see in front of the camera every day. And again, I'll reiterate, it was 33 years to get to that January 19, and then to get from January to today has been another 5, almost 6 years of pretty arduous study, investing, paying attention to the world. And a lot of that in the last 11 months has been captured here. I try to put that kind of thing up on my channel so that people know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what I'm worried about, what I'm prepping for, and how well I'm prepped, and what I believe you should be doing if you can. And that's really kind of the end of the story for kind of how I got here. I left out about 200 or 2,000 stories, but I don't want to make this a 2-hour long video. I tend to make 2 long videos. So that's the gist of it. I started a small business, spent 25 years in it, grooming it, growing it, blood, sweat, and tears. 6-day, 7-day weeks, 18-hour days, very few vacations, and that's kind of how we got to where we are today. Something maybe a natural follow-on or maybe in conclusion to this video would be my conversation about how can you do it? Because trust me, I started with nothing, absolutely dirt poor. I mean, literally barely got into my college. Really got into college above and beyond my means. I had to work full time for no pay to help pay for the tuition. I worked for the university full time for 4 years. I literally started from nothing. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. The question is, how bad do you want it? How motivated are you? There's a lot of conversations that it start or end with, I'm too young, I'm too inexperienced, I'm too old, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it, I don't have time. These are all very dangerous sentences. My recommendation, my number one recommendation, head and shoulder above all my others, would be start a business. Start a side gig. I don't care if it's selling on Amazon. We joke here in Wyoming about start a chainsaw service. Oh my God, do I understand that recommendation today? Or start a house care business. Start your own grocery delivery. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do. I'm just going to say the true key to wealth is owning a business, owning a line of income that's secondary to your salary. Paid salary is the absolute worst source of income you can have. It's the most easily squeezed. It's the most easily taxed. It's the most easiest way to make you do what those in power want you to do. If you are wealthy in other means, it makes you much harder to squeeze. The question is, are you willing to invest in a second job? I've done videos on this channel about the 3/8. What do you do with your third 8? What does that mean? We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 168 hours in the week. What do you do with them? And that's a question for each person to answer themselves not to answer to me or put in the comments, or we can certainly talk about it if you wish, but this is for in here. If you go to work for 8 hours and you sleep for 8 hours, that gives you another 8 hours. What do you do with that 8 hours? My recommendation is start another line of income. It will take a lot of work. It will show no fruit for months or a year or two. The question is, do you want to do that? The key to true wealth, in my opinion, is leverage. Either leveraging other people's time or other processes or products. Like if you wanted to sell things, you leverage Amazon to do it. If you want to start a consulting business, you charging your time at an hourly rate is not going to make you wealthy. You charging 5, 10, 50, 100, 500 people's time on an hourly rate will make you wealthy. So my second recommendation would be stop buying toys. And what I really mean by that is only buy assets. Only spend your own money on something that's going to make you money. Buying a car will not make you money. Buying a RV, buying a motorcycle, buying a lot of extra guns or ammo. None of these are all toys. It will not make you money. Get rid of your debt and then buy things that actually accrue in value over time. I mean, stocks is an example. Gold and silver is an example. Crypto is an example. Real estate's an example. Sure, there are other assets out there. I just don't know what they are. I'm not that smart. I'm not that into that part of the society. So, guys, I hope this answered your questions. I'll be glad to entertain any questions or comments you guys have. I just wanted to be open and honest about how I got to where I am, because I've gotten a number of questions about that over the last several months. And I've given you 2 recommendations on how to get on the path. The other question I have for you, my third recommendation, how do you spend your spare time? Do you spend it watching football? Do you spend it watching baseball and hockey? I'm going to frustrate a lot of people here. I believe professional sports and college level sports, this is the greatest example of bread and circus since Roman times. So many people, particularly guys, spend 10, 20 hours a week watching professional sports. That's the equivalent of a half-time job. If you're happy in life, do all you want. I don't really care. It's the gap that I get frustrated with. If you're not happy with your life, if you're not happy with your financial position or the choices that you are forced to stay away from or make the poor of decisions, and you watch 20 hours of sports or TV a week, that's a bad example. I mean, that's a bad combination. Use your time to read. We can learn from people 2,000-3,000 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and today. Just because something's old doesn't mean it doesn't teach us something. When we watch YouTube videos, do we watch educational ones? Are they teaching you? Are they showing you new things? Or are we watching our 200th pipe review and our 500th tobacco review? Again, watching those is fine if you're happy where you are. It's if you're unhappy and want to make a change and do that. And if you watch those kind of YouTube videos over and over again, and professional sports and television and movies, it's very hard to make a better life doing those kind of things. Sounds rough, just trying to be real. So I know I show you a lot of fancy cars and race cars and racing and all that, but I'll give you a good example. For most of my professional life, I drove a Toyota 4Runner. fact, I still own the last one. It's a 2010. I've loaned it out to who I call my adopted daughter, but we still own it. It's 14 years old. Looks and runs brand new. Before that, I had a 1988 4Runner. So I started to buy cars, nicer cars, in the last year or two of owning the company, and really didn't start buying stupid cars that I've shown you on this channel until after my money was taken off the table by selling the company and placed into the investments that we've talked about over the year here on this channel. Another example is my wife and I had our house built in 1996, and we've never moved out of it. What is that, 26 years now? So, just as we moved up the income scale, and even after we sold the company, we stayed in that house. That's still our main home. This is wonderful to own, but it's an investment, and hopefully it's something that will help me attain my last dream, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So I sit here before you today as a man who has run off the rails for my dreams. When I was 22, graduated from college, I'd set out my dreams. I wanted to someday meet a great wife and own a home and hopefully retire and be financially independent. My goal was 45 or 50 years old. I was 54 when I did it. A house like this to live in Jackson, Wyoming wasn't even on the list. So I'm pretty blessed. I know it. Really, my last goal is to leave a legacy of financial independence to my 2 kids. I think we're on track to do that, but it's going to require a little bit more work for me to finance myself and my wife and my family's life until my death, and then leave them, the 2 of them, enough money where they don't have to worry about money. They can do what they choose to do. I know it's pretty controversial in the world. A lot of people say, screw it, my kids are on their own. I was on my own, my kids are going to be on their own. I made it on my own, my kids are going to have to make it on their own. I get that. I'm not commenting on that. I'm talking about me. And the other one is, oh, you're going to ruin your kids because they know they're going to inherit a bunch of wealth, and I don't think so. My son is double degreed, launched on his own, far from a failure to launch. Now he knows about the wealth, and he's being trained on how to manage it. And then my daughter is about to graduate from a great university, probably #1 in her class, and will move on and probably already has a job set up. So I don't think I'm ruining either one of my kids, but that's my opinion. Everyone has one. You guys can certainly have your opinion on what I'm choosing to do, but it'll have no impact on what I choose to do. That's just being honest. All right, I'll end it with I'm a doer, I'm a sampler. You see me trying different things. I'm open about it on this channel. I'm testing the Johnny Bravo options system right now. We're about 60 days in. I just haven't had time because of all the tree work, but you see I'll do my AI investment bots to see how they do. So I think life is a continual learning process. Jim always says it on his, if you're not learning, you're being left behind. So dabble, try things, test things, and read widely, read deeply, start a business, stop wasting money on toys, and start buying assets. Guys, that's it. It's a pretty long video, so I'm going to shut up, put all the pieces together, and get this uploaded. Hope I answered your questions. If not, I'm a recovering politician, so maybe I answered the question I hoped you asked, or if I just talk long enough, you'll forget what you asked. If I did either of those, just poke me in the comments and keep me honest. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you had a good Sunday. I had a great day today, and hope you got a great week already planned out in front of you, and we will talk again on Monday. Bye, you guys.